So good evening to all of you once again. Okay, so let's start with this just quick overview of the paper. So paper was easy to moderate from my point of view, and this time we included few questions different from what we had given you till now. So few FIJs questions, para completion questions. So I picked up few questions. Let's check how you attempted. So first question is based on fact inference judgment. So I am assuming that we know about what is a fact, what is an assumption, and what is an inference, and what exactly is a judgment. We already have covered this particular chapter in our regular classes, those who have finished the syllabus, but I don't know about the rest of the online students, likewise Ritesh, Kanak, Amarjot, etc. So what about you people? So have you covered these chapters? No response from your side? Yes, Ritesh, you know about this. So judgment is anything which cannot be quantified. Judgment is an opinion, and in fact anything that can be verified. And primarily generally people are confused between judgment and inference. Inference is something which can be drawn on the basis of a given fact. So if I look at this question number 52nd, so first question, first sentence A, congestion, a mounting number of traffic accidents, worsening air pollution are the most obvious local problems. It can be verified easily. So the first statement is fact. Let's see what is your take on this particular question. So what you have to say about this? Statement B. So whenever we come across any adjective base in any statement, the question would be, yeah, Shubhangi, you're absolutely right, judgment. I think we already know this. So are you my regular student, Shubhangi? Okay. So have we covered this chapter in this class? Okay, fine. So attitude to the safety is most developing countries are more casual. We cannot be quantified, and rigorously cannot be quantified. A fairly basic vehicle, so cannot be quantified. So attitudes simply cannot be quantified. So yeah, therefore second statement is judgment. Third statement, let's look at the third statement. About 40% of India's road traffic is carried on just 2% of its road, most of which leave much to be desired. So seems to be a fact, but again it's a judgment because of the word desired, much to be desired. We don't know the limit of our desire or what is to be desired, so cannot be quantified, therefore it is also a judgment. And last statement D, what makes infrastructure investment in developing countries tricky? The word, look at the focus on this word tricky. Now tricky is difficult for us to quantify, therefore this statement is also a judgment. Therefore answer is option number 2. So what about the rest of the guys? So are you clear about this? How do we select? Shubhangi, third can be fact, because generally we are confused because I told you in my classes also, whenever we come across any data, so generally the statement is a fact, but most of which leave much to be desired. Let's say if the statement had been till about 40% of India road traffic is carried by just 2% of its roads, full stop. Till this, the question is, the statement is a fact, but most of which leave much to be desired. Now this is a judgment, because we cannot quantify. First of all, most is an adjective, and desired, the word is desired. So whenever we come across approval or disapproval, whenever there could be any contest or challenge, the statement is always a judgment. Am I clear, Shubhangi? So whenever we have got judgment, opinion, approval or disapproval, so we need to look at the statement in totality. It should not be only half of the statement. So let's move on to next question. So this I picked up based on para jumble, because this time we don't have misfit type questions. So, and I picked up only one passage because it consumes a time, so that's why I dropped. I picked up only few questions based on one or two difficult passages. So again the question is based on 53rd, based on parajumble, and from my side question seems to be very easy if you are able to track one mandatory pair. So mandatory pair, Rishi, is not CD actually, it's other way around. Yeah, it is BD. So the opener in this case is B. Everywhere you turn, someone is offering advice on things like which thousand of mutual funds to buy, or now BD is forming a mandatory pair. It's going well with this B, or the another advice would be which MBA program to join. So BD is a mandatory pair. Fortunately, we had only one choice, that is option number 1. Therefore, it's very clear. If you want to reconfirm your answer, then read C also. C says, consumer psychology says this sea of choices. Now we are getting different choices. Number of choices we come across given by the people. So these choices are confusing us. Driving us bonkers means confusing us. So BDC is mandatory trio. The answer is clear. I think we don't need to discuss further this question, guys. So let's move ahead. But make sure that you know how to track an opener, how to track closure, and how to track mandatory pair. To track mandatory pair, we have got 3 or 4 sub tricks, and this generally I take up in my classes. Those who already have taken this class, they must be aware of. They would be aware of this, all these tricks. So guys, those who have taken this chapter in my classes, so are you all aware of? Remember the tricks we did? Press yes if you are in my batch. Like noun pronoun method, cause effect, contrast, chrono pairing. So these are the few tricks that with the help of which we track mandatory pairs and openers. The opener should be independent, complete, and above all it should be able to introduce the theme of the discussion. Any sentence having all these qualities would be an opener. So if you are aware of, those who are not aware of these tricks, visit the videos we have launched online. So you'll be taking sooner or later. I already have taken RC videos and video RC for CAT students. My next video would be on parajumble and misfit type. So most of you were not finding this comfortable, this section. So I've decided to do this video, and especially focusing on parajumbles and misfit types. So I shall be taking 1 hour length, 30 minutes, at like 30 to 1 hour video, especially focusing on these two areas. So make sure that whenever I'm done with this, so I'll be sending messages to you all, and you can visit and see this video. So after that I shall be taking up Keshav, we shall be sending you links of these videos, and after that I shall be taking a critical reasoning, especially focusing on summary, inference, and strengthening, weakening. So I have picked up 3 areas. So wherever you students are facing problem, I have decided to make videos and lectures, video based lectures on these topics. So, and we shall be sending you the links to you all, and you can visit. So this will finish the problem once for all. Let's move on to the next question. We are running short of time. It's already 5:40. So, and question number 54, again based on parajumbling. Parajumbling. So let's see. Let's try to figure out the opener. If you already have done this question, fine. But if you're not, if you're feeling the feeling is same, that question is as new as Santoor soap. So let's try to figure out the opener in this case. Question number 54, guys. C. The level of educated among the existing workforce is low, and on the other hand, educated without pronunciation is very high. Yeah. The question. For example, if I look at the sentence A, a large majority of these schools. Now these, because of presence of these word, this pronoun, this cannot be an opener. For instance, B starts with for instance, cannot be an opener, rejected. D says thus, cannot be an opener. E significantly, while 200, again an example. So these sentences cannot be openers. So C definitely, and we have got two choices only, starting with C and option number 3, option number 4. So fourth CE, third says CB. So again, the only thing we have to check is what will come after C. is it B or is it E? So whichever we find correct would be the answer. So let's read CB. B says, for instance, we have been given one example. Yes, Amarjot Singh, option 3 is the correct answer, because CE says significantly while 200 million students enroll for primary education, it's little way out, because here we are talking about the level of education among existing workforce is low. And B, in B sentence we see the presence of word workforce, so CB is making the right pair rather than CE. Therefore answer is option number 3. Absolutely fine, you all. So Nanika, I think there's some problem at your end. You're leaving and you're again playing, leaving and joining. Some technical problem we also had a couple of minutes back. So let's move on to the next question. Let's see what we have. Now it is based on para completion. Little tricky question, lengthy also at the same time, but the answer we have to pick up is a little different from the point of discussion we started in this question. So if you want to read, just rush through, take your time, take 1 or 2 minutes, because in paper also we get only this much time. Okay guys, are you reading this question? Or just you're looking at the question and the question is looking at you and you both are enjoying, leaving me aside? Yes, if you've gone through this question. So question is about, let's recap last line. So last line can be, if you have to find out the last line, this particular type is called para completion. If you have to find the last line, then it should be either the extension of second last line, or it should conclude the overall passage. There can be only 2 options whenever we talk about para completion questions. Last line could be the extension of second last line. In this case we have to focus only on last line, second last line of the passage, or we have to wind up the passage. There cannot be third option, make sure this. So we'll look at this point. So all the options starting with does, so either it is the conclusion of the entire passage or the conclusion of 1 or 2 last lines. Last line says that, I'm reading last 3 lines. One is change shape and function of the female. The broadened hips and rather rolling gait that is typical of human female are a direct result of need to accommodate the enlarged brain. This change brought to the female a disadvantage in walking and running. So yes, Aki, Shubhangi, Amarjot, you're absolutely fine. So let's say if I read first option, it says, thus the child dependency on mother was prolonged, resulting in better bonding. So last few lines saying something about the difficulty faced because of this, the advantage or the anatomy of the female body. So and the first option is not at all referring to this particular disadvantage, I would say. So again gone. So thus second option says adult human look like more like a young female chimpanzee than adult chimpanzee. So no way, strictly way out of the track, rejected. The young female apes are brighter. See, we are talking about the human beings, especially females. So, and we are talking about the problem faced by females because of these changes, anatomical changes, because of the evolution, or we can say mutations or the evolution. So D is the right option, because it said that when hunting swift animals, men were at ones who did the chasing while women tended to other jobs. Because the women found difficulty, women find it very difficult to run or chase. In earlier societies, the hunting was the prime domain of men. So that's how we complete this. So question started off with very complex quality related to education, evolution, that larger brain are fine endowments, but they are presented with major difficulty of thing being that of being born. So any creature, a baby having larger brain will have large head size, will pose great problem to a mother while delivering. So that's what this question was all about. So am I clear about this question, guys? So did you get this question correct while attempting? So make sure that it is not necessary that last time whatever the pattern the cat gave last time, that only RCs, sentence arrangement questions, and inference critical reasoning based questions, and 2 or 3 grammar based questions. So probably things can change this time. So once or twice we also include the leftover items or the question types. Likewise we include this time fact inference, para completion, and a few idiomatic usage question. So there is no guarantee that what will come this time, but again we want to make sure that we should not leave any section, and we should practice each and every type. So let's move on to the next question. So again, para completion question. I think the lengthwise very tempting. So yes, Nandini, I shall be taking up summary, inference, and critical. While taking critical reasoning video, I shall be taking up summary based question also. We shall be sharing all the tricks related to how to trap the best question as best choice whenever we come across summary based question. So don't worry, I've picked up a difficult areas, and we have decided that we shall be making videos on all these areas, difficult areas, and we shall be sending you all the links. So don't worry. So moving on to this question. So read this question, take your time. Question number 58. Yes, Shashidhar, don't worry. We shall be sending links to all our enrolled students, whether online, whether regular. If you are our online student, then also you'll get the link. If you are a regular student, they don't. They just have to visit our site, and they'll get the links. Definitely, videos are for you people. Don't worry. So Amarjot, you're quite quick. Aki also, I think you again are complaint boys. So it says that it didn't matter the company was profitable. Number one, if investors could get higher profits and higher stock prices elsewhere, company was still under the gun. Why? Nor did it matter that the product was relatively cheap or a fair quality if consumers could get a better deal elsewhere. Game over. Till here, workers who inhabited the local service economy faced different challenges from their counterparts in big industry. Their jobs were not in danger of disappearing. They could be outsourced abroad, and most would be automated. In fact, the number of local service jobs kept growing. So this is the comparison drawn between big companies and the small companies. So what problems? So there, no doubt, at local service jobs were growing, but they faced altogether different problems. And what the problem was, and what the problem was, the problems were, yes, absolutely fine. We need to take this thought forward, and the problems are, or the were at that time, as per the question. Second option is absolutely fine, because we need to pick up the problems. In this particular question, problems have been compared, faced by the bigger companies, employees in the bigger companies, employees in the smaller companies, especially service sector. So low wages, no benefits, and little chance of growing further. Absolutely, guys, you're absolutely marvelous. Second is the right option. What are the problem? What is the problem, or what are the problems with rest of the choices? See, first says significantly most of these service jobs were not unionized. So there's no mention of the word union. Just pick up the word union. I picked up this question because with the help of this union word, we could have rejected 3 choices at least. First gone because of the union, third gone because of the union, even the fourth also gone because of the word union. So lucky this time. Could have picked up option 2 easily just by looking at this word union, and could have rejected this word choices with the help of the word union. Yes, absolutely fine, Rishi. Now this passage is about, I picked up 63 and 65 question. It is about development of trust in leadership. From my side, passage a little tricky to understand, because you are talking about what views or qualities a leader should have in order to influence people, in order to motivate people, in order to guide the nation or organization. So it talks about humility, and it talks about the word mereness. Very important word here in this case, mereness. Now, a very difficult passage to recall right now. If I say you, let's say if I tell you to recall the passage, it would be very difficult for you to recall the passage. But in case if you just want to rush through, please rush through this slide, because let's see what question I have picked up. The important part is where I am moving my cursor. Applied to leadership, mereness. What exactly is mereness? Humility should be given first priority. Humanity. First, leaders should be able to understand humanity. Second, depraved nature. Leaders should understand that depraved means immoral nature, the corrupt nature. And third, leaders should finally grasp the purpose of leadership is not the leadership itself, it is to build trust and to allow them to serve others. Again, very complex passage in terms of understanding, because if you read this passage and you look at the politics around, you'll be totally confused. We'll never see any leader who is very humble, very polite, one who knows where to go, what to do. So let's move ahead, guys, if you've gone through this passage, because these two paragraphs are important where I'm moving on my cursor. Let's move on to the next half. He has again used the word satiate, unsatisfied desire. So ultimately it talks about everything boils down to moral value. Let's look at the question, then I'll come back to the passage. Very lengthy passage. So according to the passage, we can infer all of the following except. So very difficult question otherwise. Good leaders are interested in their followers and their organization. Absolutely fine. They should be, and they are, as per the passage. Leaders' performance depend upon the personal character. Yes, it is already given because it's talking about humanity and they should be able to analyze their strengths and weaknesses. This is also fine. Humility is rarely present in a person who says he possesses it. This is also given in the passage, so cannot be inferred otherwise. So could have done this question by negation, because it is very difficult for a test taker to understand that how come mereness in leader signifies them being selfless or servile in their disposition or their behavior. Yes, Aki, you are right. Amarjot, you are also right. Fourth is the right option, because rest can be inferred, rest are true, and fourth is wrong. Mereness signifies them being selfless, servile in their disposition is wrong otherwise. This cannot be inferred because mereness means something else. It is not selfless or servile. The one who has this mereness embedded will not go. So fourth is the option correct because it is wrong. Rest can be inferred. So whenever you come across question, the point of picking this question is that whenever we come across question which says all of the following are true except, or all of the following are false except, so go by the negation. Try to recall the stuff while reading the passage, and if you want to go back to the passage, please go back to the passage to reconfirm your answer. Do not rely only on your memory. Whenever we come across the question, all of the following can be inferred or all of the following can be true except. So these questions are very tricky. The joy of creation can be realized by. Now, if you remember this, author highlighted that it is not that we have to discover or create something new every time. Even understanding, he has given the example of Pythagoras theorem, if you are able to recall the stuff, that even understanding Pythagoras theorem right from the beginning, the proof can give you joy of creating something new. So joy of creation can be realized. Even, vicarious is indirectly, in experiencing indirectly through discoveries of others. Yes. So Shubhangi Garg, you are right, and 65 is also. It is not restricted to Amrit and Amarjot. Some people who can utilize their capacity to the fullest, it is not. Even he has given that joy of creation can be realized by experiences indirectly through some people. Anybody who can utilize their capacity to the fullest may or may not experience, may not or may not be able to enter creativity zone. That's why fourth is may or may not be correct. That's why we have rejected fourth, I think, if I am right. So we are doing right now 65th question. Yes, it is first, experiencing indirectly through discoveries of other. Let's say second is rejected because only an elite group of artists or probably can scientists can take the happiness. So it's not only elite group, only through first hand experience. When he has given the example of Pythagoras, it is clear that it can be even experienced indirectly. That's why we have rejected second, third and fourth. So let's move on to the next. Again, very difficult passage in terms of understanding, because it talks about, first of all, you should know the meaning of inflation. Let's say how come inflation is controlled by oversupply or undersupply of the money, speculation, stock market, the value of anything commodity going up, coming down. So being in debt, what exactly we mean. So here the passage is primarily focused around the commerce area, the economy and the stock market, speculation, etc. So point is, the moral of the story is that if you want to score well in RCs, make sure that you include variety in your reading by reading from different sources, and make sure that whenever you come across a few things related to any particular area, make sure that you note down these words and search net and try to understand the practical meaning of, get into the practical insight of the things. So that will make you more comfortable, more confident in attempting RCs based on specific areas. Likewise, this is based on stock market, commerce, money, inflation, etc. So anybody from the science background will not be so comfortable in reading these kind of passages. But probably commerce students would be more comfortable, but so other way around also, whenever commerce students will come across anything based on hardcore sciences, they'll face the same situation. So best is to include variety and to increase your vocabulary related to specific areas. So question number 69. But again, let me check if you are able to understand. So passage starts with very funny line: financial speculators do not want growth. It's very shocking for us, for the readers, that why they do not want growth. What they want is stable currency. Why they want stable currency? This should come to your mind. Meaning no growth. So what exactly, how they'll be benefit if the country is not experiencing any growth, or when there is no growth in the economy? How they will benefited? Because of stable currency. Because inflation, high inflation, simply try to understand the logic. High inflation can reduce the value of currency. If they are investors or if they are speculators, financial speculator, high inflation would definitely lower the value of the currency, and they don't want to lose the money. That's why they want that growth should not be there, because higher growth means more demand. More demand means increase in inflation, and a rise in inflation, increase in inflation would decrease the value of their money. That is what the gist of the entire passage is. So how many of you would be were able to understand this, the gist behind this passage? Yes guys, Digraj, Amarjot, Shashwat, Nanika. So were you able to understand? So you left this passage. You again left this because this is a very technical angle, because unless you understand the meaning, the correlation between inflation, speculation, money losing its value, and the growth, there's no point that you will be able to understand this passage or these kind of passages. So made the good choice to leave this passage. And what about the rest of the students? Yes, so were you able to? Sneha, I think you all are born managers. There's no point that you will fail in corporate sector because you made the right choice of leaving this passage. Yes, any adventurous guy who tried to attempt this? Shashwat, reading it right now or at that time? Shashwati, sorry, Shashwati. Aki, you did. So nothing to worry about. Those who consume dew, they are not afraid of anything because, as we all know, डर के आगे जीत है. So Amarjot, so dew lover. We all have got cyclone in us. The only thing is that we need to remove the lid. Remember the Salman Khan ad? Okay, don't worry. So guys, let's move on to the question because it's already 6:03. So what is the prime purpose of the passage? Now look at the author of this from this passage. If this passage has been taken from Understanding Power by Noam Chomsky. So in America, only two guys can criticize America. One, the Chinese ambassador there, and second guy is Noam Chomsky. Third is you must have read about this article in Hindu also and Guardian also. Do you know the person by the name of Paul Krugman? Heard of this guy, Paul Krugman? Only 3 people can Modi Rajat know. Okay, definitely you will find articles written by this guy in Hindu newspaper. I think on Wednesday or Thursday, one of the days. But if you find that it's very difficult for you to understand international economy, just go through the articles written by Paul Krugman. He uses very simple terms, very simple English, the concepts to make us understand the international economy. So, and the third guy, first Noam Chomsky, second Paul Krugman. So only two guys can criticize America openly while living in America. So one is Noam Chomsky. So the passage is very, very daring otherwise in terms of strictly pointing fingers at America. So author tries to point out the passage that, so it says that even governments government find it very difficult to control or formulate the policy because speculators, those very big financial guys or the companies, they buy government bonds because whenever government is in need of money, government will go and approach these people, so-called the billionaires will help government in buying their bonds, and they buy their bonds to make the currency stable, and they dictate the policy while framing when the government is framing policy. So in this way they control the policy framing bodies, and they will not allow these financiers, those who buy government bonds, they will not allow government to frame policy so that things can be smoothed out. So the 69th question, yes Aki, third, it is a difficult passage, but if you read, whenever you come across, now the moral of the story is this, whenever you come across very hardcore difficult passages, just read the passage once only, and in just one shot, whatever you understand is fine, but read the questions. In case if you are able to attempt one question, in case if you got the time and you read this and understand only 30 to 40% of the passage, if you understand only one question, you're damn sure about one question, then attempt one question, but that should be done in the last. Should not attempt this question at the start of the passage, start of the paper. So third, you will find this directly. So I think last few questions, we are running short of time. So very interesting question, very sweet little cute question. So we have to pick up, if highways were restricted to cars and only those trucks with a capacity of less than 8 tons, most of the truck traffic would be forced to run outside highways. Fact. So the conclusion he is giving, such a reduction in the amount of truck traffic would reduce the risk of collision. So therefore, there would be less collision, less accidents, number of accidents. So the conclusion drawn in the first sentence will depend on which of the following assumption. He will assume that the outside, so read your question yourself. Only 2 choices are available. I can move on to next slide to make you to show you next 2 choices. So did you attempt this question, guys? From my side, easy question. So do we know assumption? Assumption is always with respect to, my batch students already know assumption. Yes, guys. Shubhangi, another. Assumption is What was in the mind of author while issuing that statement, writing that statement? Assumption is always with respect to whom? Guys, I need your answers. An assumption is always with respect to whom? You have written yes, now you need to write this. Yes, Sneha, it's always with respect to author or speaker. Oh yeah, so you remember everything. Digraj, with respect to premise, yeah, it should be relevant to the given situation, no doubt, but it is always with respect to author or speaker. It means that it can be, assumption can be more than one for a given situation. Assumption is what was in the mind of author while issuing that statement, writing that statement. So it is always with respect to author. So let's see. Okay, Shashidhar, no issues. You can listen rest of the session, because tomorrow we shall be uploading this video also. Nothing to worry. Take your time. See you next time around. All the best. Don't worry, but you can listen this rest of the part in the video itself, Shashi. Don't worry. Am I clear, Shashi? No? Okay. So next two parts. Most trucks are currently running on a capacity of more than 8 tons. These are the two choices. So your take, guys. Assumption. Now go back to the previous. These are the two choices. Seems to be, yes, Amarjo, seems to be very close option. The road outside highway would be as convenient as highway. But here we are not talking about, the question is moving around the weight carried by, freight carried by. So first is half true. If we find better than this, then probably would be the answer, I suppose. So question number 79, let's see the choices. First seems to be very close. It is a close option. And fourth says cars are at greater risk of becoming involved in collision than trucks. No. Nandini, 4 should not be the right answer. It says that assumption. What was the assumption made by the? Let's look at the question. If highways were restricted to cars and only those trucks with a capacity of less than 8 tons, most of the truck traffic would be forced to run outside highways. And what this will lead to, such a reduction in the amount of truck traffic would reduce the risk of collision highways. So what he's assuming, that he's assuming right now that on highways currently trucks which are running have a capacity of more than 8 tons. So why it can't be third? It is third. Yes, guys. Your take. Assumption is what was in the mind of author while issuing that statement. Because conclusion cannot be true unless third is true. Am I clear, Nandini? Fourth could be an inference. This you can make out after reading the paragraph. Fourth is not an assumption. This is an inference from our side, reader side. Yeah. So Nanika, absolutely right. So move on to same question, but we have to strengthen the conclusion. It says that such a reduction in the amount of truck traffic would reduce the risk of collision on the highways. So we have to strengthen this. He is assuming that weight causes major problem on highways, or truck carrying more than required load would pose the greatest danger. So let's say strengthen Now, how strengthening or weakening can be done? If you have already attended this lecture, if you know about the technique, see, strengthening or weakening is done on the basis of assumption. So assumption was that highways, right now on highways, trucks carrying more than 8 tons are running. So we have to strengthen this assumption conclusion. So we have to go with the assumption. To weaken the conclusion, we have to go against the assumption made. So let's see. Yeah, Amarjot, Ayushi are absolutely correct. The conclusion can be strengthened if trucks have capacity more than caught disproportionately large number of collision highways. If it were true, that fourth option, absolutely fine. Aki, Amrit, Amarjot, and rest of the guys. Yeah, Rishi. Any choice which is going with the assumption made by the author will strengthen the conclusion, and any choice which is going against the assumption made by the author will weaken the conclusion. That's how we do strengthening and weakening. You can, if you're not clear about this, you can watch the video, my critical reasoning workshop on our channel, YouTube channel. Now, next question which I picked up is sentence completion. Now, in these type of questions, we need to understand the context. We need to know the meanings of the options. So it is two ways checking. These questions check our context or level of comfort with this language, and our vocabulary also. Sometimes we are able to understand the context, but we are not aware of the meanings of the options given. So then we are gone. We'll be helpless. So it says that the dash in many parts of the metro has made dash infectious disease more swift, means fast, because pathogens means the microorganism causing problems spread fast in close quarters. So I think question was easy. So no choices, unfortunately. But let me check. The options were, yeah, C guys. The first word in the C was overcrowding and propagation spread. So yes, Rajat. So you have to leave this question here. Yes, Aki, you're right. Now here it is, the 83rd question is based on grammar. So we have to find out the incorrect ones. 83rd question. So let's say if I say A is wrong, sentence A is wrong. What's the problem with sentence A? She looked at me with the tears falling down from her eyes. Yes, Rishi, down is redundant. You are doing absolutely fine. And what's the problem with B, guys? We are just revising. Many of these children grow in an atmosphere of violence or grow up. We grow up in. And third sentence, the question is whether doctors should lengthen life when there is no hope of recovery. Lengthen is inappropriate word here. Whenever we want to increase the lifespan of an individual by helping him or her, it should be prolonged. It has to be prolonged. So my purpose of picking this question was that logically lengthen is also fine, mathematically lengthen is also fine, but grammatically lengthen is wrong. So we need to learn the usage as well. It's not that always grammar question will be based on subject verb agreement, modifier, parallelism, tenses, etc. Point is that sometimes the question is based on wrong usage. So be careful, and whenever you read something, read very, very carefully. And E in today's material society, it cannot be material society. Even a 6th class guy, student could have corrected this sentence. It has to be materialistic society. I can see the question. I think this is the last question we are doing right now. No doubt we do have 1 or 2 questions left, but this you can do yourself. So I shall be picking up last question, 91st, which we see on our screen. So is question visible to you all? Guys, press yes if it is visible. Okay. So the student found writing to be very dash since she was not terribly dash and always struggled. The keyword here is struggled to find enough to say to fill up her. From the last half or the portion of the sentence, we can guess what is going on and will help us in understanding the context. So your choice now. The student found writing to be very dash problematic, I think, from the sentence, from the context, because she always struggled to find enough words to fill up the term papers. So she must have found this particular part of the education very difficult. Shubhangi, do we know the meaning of word sensation, or do you think that the word seems to be very stylish, very fresh like Santoor soap? So if we don't know the meaning, so perfunctory means doing anything for the sake of doing, half-heartedly. So what about the fourth option? Do we know the meaning of the word onerous? Onerous means burdensome, anything which is very difficult for us to execute. Morose is sad, therefore out. Yes, Nandini, difficult, absolutely fine. You have got strong vocabulary. What is the secret of your good vocabulary? So the student found, let's try to fill up the blanks from our side only. Please do not look at the choices. Student found writing to be very difficult, very burdensome, since she was not terribly talkative or not very comfortable in using words, and always struggled to find enough to say to fill her term papers. So it has to be onerous in the first blank and loquacious. She was not terribly loquacious. That's why she always struggled. Am I clear, guys? The context is very important for us to understand. And okay. So let's see if I have. Yeah, very interesting question. So this should be the last question, I think. Read this question. It says that it is again the difference, the relation between price of any commodity versus the number of pieces produced and the demand. It says that when any new substitute technology enters the market for the first time, it is priced higher than the technology it is supposed to be substituting. This is fine. This is what happened when CDs were launched, compact discs. They were priced significantly higher than vinyl records. The justification was that the low volumes increase the production cost. Now this is very important line. Low volumes increased the production cost because initially the demand would be low for any new thing. With the economies of scale and learning curves, price of CD did come down when CD got popular. Yet vinyl records, which had been in existence for a very long period of time, started going up in the price to become almost as expensive as CDs. Got the point? The only thing is that whenever anything is less number in terms of production, the price will definitely be up for that commodity. When things are produced on scales, then price will come down. So we have to find out the explanation for this. So the third says, as switch to CDs started happening, volumes in vinyl record market reduced, thereby increasing production. People started demanding vinyl record less. Companies started producing vinyl record less in numbers. Therefore, price of commodity went up. So that is what the question was all about. So I think the last question you can do yourself. We're left with only one slide. Question number 97. I think it was. It is an easy question, so I'm running short of time. I have to take next session also. So see you guys next time around, but make sure that I'll be taking videos, shooting videos related to your summary based, inference based, one CR critical reasoning video, one parajumble summary, parajumble and misfit video. So you shall be sent links also, and this will take care of your problem forever, because you were saying that you all were facing problems because of these three or four areas. So time has come for me also, you also, to wind up this session. So thank you for coming and attending this session, and we shall be meeting next time with mock 20 and bull cat 1 also. So see you next time around. All the best.